This video is gonna take up gigabytes of data. Let's just get on with it. Hey climbers, it's Ryan Mullen and welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be talking about the one thing that any musician or music lover loves, and that is gigs. But why are they so stressful for disabled musicians and music lovers? And what can event organisers do to include these people in their decision making when organising these events? Well, I'm going to break down these questions and provide some possible answers for you right now. But before I do, I have one small disclaimer. Disability affects everyone differently, so this is not a list of everything that disabled people suffer with. Some may suffer with either a few or a lot of these things, and that is a valid result. I don't personally suffer at gigs. I love them, I really do. But as I said in my welcome video, I'm a rare exception. So here are some of the possible reasons why gigs can be stressful for some disabled musicians and what we as the people can do to help. If I'm honest, there are three big reasons for this, and one of them is sensory overload and overstimulation. Let's break each sense down, starting with sight. Gigs, for some reason, tend to be more professional in the eyes of event organisers and music critics if they include crazy colours, strobe/flash lighting effects, pyrotechnics, and a lot of visual aid. But in my opinion, this is pointless. You go to see an artist live, not get blinded. If you want to see an artist live, chill out with all the fancy lights and pyrotechnics. If it's a fictional show, then sometimes lighting may add to the impact of the story, and I respect that. But for comedy or music gigs, this lighting is not only unnecessary, but it's also inaccessible to some audiences. Disability and epilepsy often go hand in hand, so event organisers should be treating all disabled music fans with respect, and artists should be promoting that whichever way they can. Another sense is sound. Wherever you go in a music arena or stadium, the music will be extra loud and fans will be screaming and cheering, which will only add to the volume that's in the room. But if a disabled fan wears ear defenders, for example, they get stared at by passers-by. I've seen it so many times, and there's so much stigma around it, and neurotypical people love to make it as if it's affecting them when it's really not. Next, let's talk about smell. If a disabled fan is in a large crowd, they could be hypersensitive to various different smells, such as people's BO, aftershave, perfume, cigarette butts, and even the smoke from the pyrotechnics, if any. If you're in a wheelchair, you could be extra hypersensitive to the smell from the pyrotechnics. And I say this because wheelchair areas are normally at the front of the venue to prevent vertigo, or just in case lifts break down. Neurotypicals may not notice things like this, but a lot of disabled people do pick up on subtle things that neurotypicals just tend to miss. The next sense I want to talk about is feel. You could feel the heat coming off of the lighting or the smoke effects. You could feel other people's body heat around you. Or if a customer jumps and bumps into you by mistake. Disabled fans could misinterpret the latter as a form of ableist abuse, which often isn't the case, but it's still something that isn't considered much at gigs. And lastly, well, the sense of taste isn't really such a big issue at gigs because you can eat before, during, or after the gig. You could eat inside or outside the venue, and you can eat whatever you want. So taste isn't really the big issue here, but the other four senses can be very overstimulating for many a disabled music fan. Sensory issues aside, now let's talk about social issues. I mentioned earlier about bumping into fans or disabled people getting stared at for wearing ear defenders, but these aren't the only issues. The mere idea of music gigs can be very off-putting for many disabled music fans. A lot of disabled music lovers that I know are more into quieter, more intimate, less busy and lower budget gigs. The main reason for this is because these kinds of gigs contain less special effects and less people are involved. And this tends to create a more calming atmosphere for disabled music lovers. Unfortunately though, not many big artists do these kinds of small, intimate gigs anymore, and if they do, they're very, very rare. I went to an intimate Rita Ora gig in 2018. I'm gonna put some pictures of it here. But this is still something that you don't hear very often anymore. So realistically now, the only way for disabled people to see some of their favourite big artists live is to endure a debilitating, overstimulating hour and a half of sensory overload. Another thing is finding friends to go with. Some disabled music lovers' friends lists might be quite small, but at the same time, they might want independence away from their families and carers. So the only option for them could be to go it alone. But that is not only very boring, but it's also very embarrassing because again, people stare. The last issue is access issues, and these type of issues are the ones that are brought on by the venues themselves. This is slightly less of an issue because by law, venues must accommodate for disabled fans under the Equality Act and the Human Rights Acts. But the venues are still not going far enough to really include them in big events. If lifts break, they might be forced to walk up flights and flights of stairs to get to their seats. And if they're in a wheelchair and are therefore forced to sit in the disabled area, they may choose to want to sit more towards the back of the venue so that they can be away from all that noise and all that overload right at the front, right at the centre of the venue. In other words, at the moment, if you're a disabled fan going to a gig, you can't really win. Now that the reasons why gigs can be very stressful for disabled fans are out, now let's talk about what we as the people can do to help this unwanted and unfortunate situation. First, avoid sensory overload. This is a simpler issue to solve than it might seem. This can be as simple as keeping strobe lighting or brightness minimal. This could include turning down the volume just a little bit so that everyone can still hear and get rid of the unwanted extreme visual or sound effects. This could include neurotypicals not getting too close to disabled fans, or this could include avoiding strong smells in the venues, and the list really can go on. Socially, this could include raising awareness of different fans' differences and respecting their right to enjoy the gig just as much as neurotypical fans. This could also include not shaming disabled fans for regulating their bodies in ways that differ from your own. This could include event organisers offering big and small gigs so that all music fans of big artists and bands can still be entertained. And finally, this could include the general public just minding their damn business. And I must emphasise that point. And lastly, for access issues, I would recommend rebuilding and renovating venues so that there is a disabled area on each floor of the venue. I say that so that all disabled fans can enjoy their experiences while also suiting their vertigo or sensory needs. This could theoretically have been done during the lockdowns while venues were shut, but as usual, this is not the top priority, even though the most important person at any event is the guest. I would also suggest that staff at venues communicate more effectively with disabled fans. The way that I would suggest this happen is, for one, ensuring that at least half of all staff at these kinds of venues learn sign language. but also I think they should talk to disabled fans in a more professional way, a more formal way that limits humour and sarcasm so that everyone understands everything that's being said and nothing's being misunderstood or misinterpreted. This issue can overlap with social issues, but it's also up to the venues to ensure that all guests have a good time. And certain access changes must be made to ensure that that requirement is met. Overall, my judgment is it's up to everyone to ensure that everyone enjoys themselves. This huge issue comes under indirect ableism, which is also something I spoke about in my first video. I'm gonna put a card to that up above. It's ableism that is technically legal as it's not covered by law, but morally is wrong, so changes need to be made. Equality injustices at gigs and events are just one of the many examples of this. I hope that this video gives neurotypicals the idea that the way that they're dealing with disabled guests and disabled members of the public at events is morally wrong. And I hope that this video can be used to help venues accommodate for more disabled fans. I myself am very, very lucky that I can enjoy gigs without experiencing too much sensory overload. But I know many other disabled music lovers that would love to go to gigs but can't because they don't accommodate for them, and it's that we need to change ASAP. Well, that's it for this video. If you liked it, then please give it a like, a comment, and share it with all your friends and family, neurotypical or disabled. While you're there, please consider subscribing to my channel and ring my notification bell down there so that you don't miss a single video. Please also view and follow me on my social media if you like this video, and please also view my website. The links to all of these are in the description below. If you'd like to help me transform this project into a full-time career, then please also consider joining my Patreon. The link to that is also in the description with my social media. And if you do, you will be rewarded with exclusive, unseen content just for you. Alongside these, my music is also in the description below, and if you like this video, I would strongly recommend you listen to my music. But just a little warning before you do that, my Spotify contains dance and hip-hop music, and to some disabled listeners, this can be very overpowering and very loud and very powerful. So if you prefer more calming music, then you may be more suited to my Facebook page, which contains more acoustic style covers and originals, which are a lot more calming and easier to listen to. And if you're a creative climber like me, then please send me your work, and if I see it, I will share it on my social media if you tag me in it. And if this is your first time on this channel, then welcome, I'm so glad you're here. And finally, thank you guys for watching this video. I really hope you guys have learned something, and I'll see you next Wednesday at 3 PM UK time for a brand new video. Keep climbing high, guys. I've been Ryan Mullen from Creative Climbers. Peace and love.